At the outermost edge of Scotland's wild Atlantic coastline lies a small island with a big reputation. The Isle of Islay is called the Queen of the Hebrides for its natural beauty and can seem rather a peaceful little spot. But the sleepy harbours, flowery meadows and ancient villages today play host to an increasingly global industry. While Jamaica is liked for its rums, and Madeira known for its sherries, this island is loved and famous for its unique tasting Scotch whiskies, known as Islay malts.
It's nice to see the island doing so well and the whiskies from the island doing so well and so sought after.
Islay has just over 3,000 year-round residents, but in their midst, 9 whisky distilleries are thriving.
Once we get into the plant, we've got to make sure it's, obviously the right quality when it comes.
Mike Heads is the manager at one of the older ones, called Ardbeg.
We then pass it through 2 sets of rolls. This old mill here dates back to 1921.
It looks pretty old, I've got to say.
It works 2-3 times a day, depending on the process coming through.
While some of his equipment may have seen a few updates over the years, he says the distillation process for a decent Islay malt has hardly changed a drop.
All we're allowed to use here is water, malted barley and yeast. It's the only things that we're allowed to put in whisky.
The yeast and water are mixed with the barley.
This is where all the fermentation takes place.
Then fermented for a couple of days in enormous casks, known as mash tuns.
We work them with 23,500 litres in each wash butt.
Before it's distilled in giant copper stills, and finally aged in wooden barrels. But ultimately, it's the malted barley they use here that really separates the wheat from the chaff.
That's got really the peat smoke rich, so that's a really heavily peated malt.
Delicious.
So it's the heaviest peated malt of any whisky in Scotland if you look at that level.
What's peat? Well, it's this. A boggy kind of soil that is traditionally dried and burned as a fuel in Scotland's Western Isles. Islay has peat in abundance, and peat smoke has long been used to malt or flavour the barley, creating its unique taste. They've been making whisky like this for centuries on Islay, which seems quite fitting since it's a truly ancient place, where for much of the year the sheep outnumber the people.
Great to see you here, hope you enjoy your evening.
But every summer, the Islay Festival attracts whisky devotees from around the world.
Well, my wife calls the Islay Festival a summer camp for adults.
John Sorke is a Scotch lover from the American Midwest and has been drinking his favourite drams of Islay malt for years.
This is my 12th festival in a row, and I absolutely love meeting the people, and it's wonderful to talk about new whiskies that are out on the market or what the distillery is offering and getting people's impressions, and it's the connection is what I really like.
And that connection is a marketer's dream, with thousands of fans attending tastings and classes at the various distilleries.
It's just like an unbelievable experience that I'll take back with me.
What we're hoping to do today, we're hoping to get you actually into some of the stuff that makes kind of Laphroaig unique.
John Campbell knows all about creating these kinds of branding experiences. He's the master distiller at Laphroaig, perhaps Islay's most famous export.
What it does, it gives us a nice salty influence.
After he'd given a handful of guided tours to connoisseurs, he offered me a few wee drams of my own during a tasting.
The next one now, this is quarter cask Laphroaig. This is the fastest growing brand in the range.
Why do you think whiskies from here on Islay are becoming so popular around the world?
Depth of flavour. Just as I mentioned, the real thing about Islay whiskies is it's every time you go to one you find a new flavour.
Even more robust than the flavours of this whisky, the sales figures. Last year, the United States imported more than $1 billion of the stuff. But fans of the festival might argue that once they're back home, it's never quite as much fun to drink it.